Once you've bought the product, what factors make you continue to buy the product?
It has to work.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's really the bottom line. It has to work. If I try it and it works, I'll buy it. At that point, price consideration, everything else goes out the window. If it works, and if it's for me or if it's for my kid and it works, I'll buy it.
I don't think there's another answer. If it works, I don't care how expensive it is.
Yeah.
If it can keep colds and flus and sickness out of my family, bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Definitely, if I'm comfortable with it and it's doing what it's supposed to do, I'm buying it.
I think that's a really important point. Notice that that price was not an issue. If it works, that's what counts, and particularly with cold and flu kinds of products, that's all that really matters. So I think that's good for retailers to know as well, that these moms, I mean, price is not an issue. It's if the product's effective.
Max, I just want to add to that, especially as a working mom,
Right.
there is no price, because the price that it'll cost me to replace myself for the day, it's just not worth it.
Right, absolutely a good point. Yes, sir.
How do you know? I mean, immune product is sometimes hard to tell if it works. How are you telling if it works? And you can say, oh, my daughter didn't get sick as much, but it's not always directly.
Would I like to answer that? Or?
I think as a mom, you're also like the chief, financial officer, and I think sometimes you just have to do a budgetary analysis and say, it's 2020 is hindsight. At the end of the winter or the end of the cold and flu season, do I look back, compared this winter compared to last winter? I did pretty much the same thing, even though I spent money on the supplement, I saved money on co-pays, I saved money on missed days at work. And I think it's a lot of times it's 2020, and also that same trust in your gut that you need to, that intuition that you still use. All my friends' kids are sick. My child isn't sick. All my coworkers are sick. I'm not sick. And you just know, especially if it's a new product that you've tried, you know the difference between last winter versus this winter. That kind of an idea.
I think that's a great question. And I think that, at least for me, I use a lot of natural products. I've used a lot of supplements, and so it's almost comparative with the other things that I've tried. And I do think that the speed with which it works really matters. I take my multivitamins and my maintenance stuff, but when it comes to cold and flu, I want to feel something relatively soon.
And just in terms of how I know it works, like for example on my kids, I know what it's like when I don't give them anything. I know what it's like when I'm like, it'll pass, so I know the difference between giving them something and just watching how overnight that it'll go a different direction. They're my control group, basically.
So a lot of intuition and actual results, and because we've all been through, most of us have been through a rough year last year, we'll know when things are working, because they go downhill pretty fast.